Good evening and welcome to the phenomenon that truly broke the internet. Back in 2018, the world was introduced to Courtney, a name that would rapidly become synonymous with a single electrifying moment of cognitive dissonance. She arrived on the America's Got Talent stage, a mere 13 years old, exhibiting a visible, almost crippling shyness. Her small frame and floral dress suggested a tentative performance, perhaps a sweet, innocent ballad. The initial exchange with the judges was awkward, nervous, the quintessential timid schoolgirl. Viewers braced themselves for a moment. What they received was an instant, high-voltage jolt of rock and roll fury. Courtney unleashed a voice that was raw, bluesy, and entirely feral, transforming instantly into a thrashing, screaming powerhouse. Her rendition of Redding's Hard to Handle wasn't just a cover, it was an explosive takeover. It's the kind of performance that makes you check your coffee to see if someone slipped in an energy drink. This instant metamorphosis, from wallflower to wildcat, shattered the show's viewing records and propelled her into immediate, massive global fame. But behind that viral success lay a story far more complex, a history of struggle, and a controversial revelation that would soon turn her golden buzzer moment into a source of public debate. The question remains, was the shy act deliberate, or was the girl truly terrified of the lion she kept caged inside? We're investigating the full, dramatic arc of a sudden superstar. A pre-fame truth, the UK's misfit musician. Before the bright lights of Hollywood, Courtney was already a seasoned, albeit unappreciated, competitor in the United Kingdom. This is the critical background that later fueled the controversy. She had previously been a finalist on ITV's The Voice Kids UK, a fact that was conspicuously absent from her America's Got Talent introduction. While this may sound like a minor detail, it proved to be a lightning rod for critics who questioned her discovery narrative. It also speaks volumes about the reception of her unique talent. In her home country, her raw, 70s rock and blues style, reminiscent of Joplin and Tina Turner, simply didn't fit the expected mold of a young British reality star. Her family made the dramatic decision to seek success across the Atlantic because they genuinely felt the American audience would better appreciate her throwback sound. They were essentially betting that the US understood rock and roll better than the UK understood its own prodigy. It's the equivalent of bringing sand to the beach, only to find the locals don't recognize the value of the grit. Her journey wasn't a sudden audition. It was the result of a deliberate, calculated move to find an audience that would finally validate her anachronistic gift. This prior experience, however, became the stick critics would use to beat her with later, creating the illusion of a seasoned professional masquerading as a newcomer. This established a foundation of suspicion that would eventually compromise her mental health under the weight of fame. The golden buzzer moment and the viral firestorm. This is the hook that defined her career. The sheer visceral shock of Courtney's audition performance of Hard to Handle instantly became a legendary moment in reality television. Judge, a man who has seen more odd and amazing acts than anyone, was so overwhelmed he didn't wait for the performance to conclude. He was transfixed, calling her an absolute star from a different era, and without hesitation, he slammed his hand down on the golden buzzer. This act of immediate public endorsement sent her straight through to the live shows and validated her family's decision to risk everything in America. The impact was instant and unprecedented. The audition video amassed well over 300 million views across platforms, making her a global trend almost immediately. She became the most talked about contestant of the entire season. The media coined her the shy singer with the voice of a lion. In fact, the performance was so explosive, the producers likely needed to install a new circuit breaker in the studio right after she finished. Her fame went from 0 to 100 in the space of 3 minutes and 5 seconds. But this hyper-acceleration was the double-edged sword that cut deepest. While the golden buzzer guaranteed her success on the show, the sheer, viral scale of her fame made her an immediate target, setting the stage for the public backlash over her hidden past and the intense pressure she would soon face. The public backlash, authentic shyness versus calculated act. The global adoration quickly curdled into intense scrutiny. As the video views climbed, internet sleuths inevitably dug up the truth about her prior appearance on The Voice Kids UK. The narrative instantly shifted from discovered talent to seasoned professional. Critics and angry fans began to ask a pointed question: was the shyness an act? The perception was that producers had recruited a previously known talent and fabricated a false image of nervousness to make the transformation more dramatic and viral. The media seized on the term ringer, suggesting the competition was rigged in her favor. Her family and friends rushed to her defense, confirming that her anxiety was painfully genuine, that the stage was the only place she felt free, but getting there was agonizing. It's the classic show business trap. If you act nervous, you're faking it. If you act confident, you're a professional who shouldn't be there. The court of public opinion declared her guilty of misrepresentation, a crime that often carries a steeper penalty on social media than any actual legal offense. They were, in essence, demanding that she be perfectly honest about the only thing she was terrified of, being perfectly honest. This internal conflict, her genuine fear clashing with the public's manufactured outrage, added layers of stress to her already demanding schedule, turning the dream of success into an emotional siege. The pressure cooker, navigating the live show gauntlet. Despite the crushing public controversy, Courtney's performances in the quarterfinals and semifinals were nothing short of breathtaking. She successfully tackled soul classics, from James Brown's Papa's Got a Brand New Bag to Born to Be Wild, proving that the golden buzzer was well-earned. The sheer demand for perfection, however, was immense. The judges praised her ability to channel rock legends, but the responsibility of carrying the hopes of millions of fans and constantly having to defend her credibility was a burden no teenager should have to shoulder. She was performing with the energy of a seasoned rocker, but simultaneously managing the emotional fragility of a shy adolescent. Every subsequent performance had to be bigger, louder, and more authentic than the last to silence the persistent online critics. The live shows became less of a talent competition and more of a test of her endurance under emotional fire. She managed to keep the lion unleashed on stage, but the schoolgirl backstage was struggling to manage the leash. When she was surprisingly eliminated in the final, a result many fans declared an absolute robbery, the immediate sense of relief was likely overwhelmed by the exhaustion of the battle. She didn't win the cash, but she was about to sign a deal that promised even bigger stakes. The deal and the vanishing act mystery. The immediate aftermath of the competition brought the expected prize, a major career-defining record deal with Music and Records. This was supposed to be for a global career, the vindication of the shy girl turned superstar. Yet after the initial press release, the music world was met with profound silence. The debut album that was aggressively anticipated never materialized. The viral sensation simply fell off the radar. Weeks turned into months, and months stretched into years. The public, who expects immediate gratification from their viral stars, began to speculate wildly. Was the label trying to change her style? Were they pushing her toward a mainstream pop sound that clashed with her raw rock and roll core? It's a common story in the industry. You're signed for your unique sound, and then they try to make you sound like everyone else. It's the classic music executive paradox. We love your sound, now change everything about it. This disappearance created a new, unsettling mystery around her. The spotlight that had burned so brightly was suddenly extinguished, leaving fans to wonder if the industry machine had broken the lion's spirit entirely. The unseen tragedy, a voice cursed by fame. The reason for Courtney's extended absence was far darker and more serious than typical record label disputes. The reality was that the massive sudden fame had triggered a severe mental health crisis. The combination of intense public scrutiny, constant travel, and the unrelenting pressure to perform and beyond had become a terrifying burden. Recent reports shed light on a truly heartbreaking period where the voice that had made her a star became the focus of her pain. She was allegedly struggling so immensely with the pressure that she reportedly became obsessed with the desperate idea of permanently silencing her singing voice. She was looking up ways to damage her vocal cords, a desperate, self-destructive act to escape the spotlight she felt cursed her. She became deeply withdrawn, locking herself away for months, unable to face the outside world. This was the ultimate betrayal of her gift. The very talent that brought her joy was now a source of unbearable anguish. This is a crucial reminder that when you call a 14-year-old an overnight sensation, you may be forgetting the massive psychological toll that overnight fame actually extracts. The girl who sang like a rock god was, in reality, a child on the brink. The independent revelation, my way or no. After enduring that profound internal battle, Courtney made a radical decision. She chose her well-being and her artistic integrity over the promise of superstardom. She quietly but firmly initiated a break from the major label system. This was her reclaiming control, a move that went far beyond career choice. It was an act of personal survival. She later confirmed her new path in a powerful, cryptic online statement, telling fans she was completely independent, finally doing it my way. This declaration was the final, definitive answer to the authenticity questions that had plagued her since the golden buzzer moment. She was done conforming, done being molded, and done being managed by people who didn't understand her raw, rock and roll spirit. It's a move that should be taught in music business schools. When the machine fails you, become the machine. Her choice to walk away from a multi-million-dollar corporate structure to create her own music proved that the wild, untamed spirit she exhibited on stage was indeed genuine, and she was finally ready to govern it herself. The Miss Jagged new era and the comeback. Courtney, now in her early 20s, is not the same person who left the AGT stage. She has embraced a new, defiant aesthetic. She shed the floral dresses, adopted a bold, rock-punk image, and even debuted a vibrant red hairstyle. This look is a visual testament to her independence. More importantly, her music is now entirely her own. She has been consistently releasing singles, and her full-length album, Miss Jagged, is a pure distillation of the 70s rock and blues that first made her a phenomenon. This is the authentic voice the fans had been waiting for, unpolished, hard-hitting, and fiercely original. She's touring and performing her own material, proving that being eliminated from a show and leaving a major label is not the end of the story. It can be the beginning of your own. Her return is a victory lap for artistic integrity, a powerful demonstration that the most rewarding path in show business is often the one you carve out for yourself. She may not have won the $1 million prize, but she won the biggest prize of all, creative freedom. The cost of the golden buzzer. The story of Courtney is a powerful, cautionary tale about the blinding intensity of instant viral fame. She was a shy schoolgirl with a shocking, supernatural voice who was thrust onto a global stage before she was ready, forcing her to contend not only with the competition, but with a brutal, cynical public and a stifling music industry. She went from being a fragile, sensitive artist to a global commodity, a process that nearly cost her her career and, far more critically, her mental health. Her choice to reject the major label system and find success on her own terms is a powerful victory. Ultimately, the golden buzzer was the catalyst that accelerated her dream, but it was the courage to walk away that saved her soul and secured her authentic destiny as a true rock artist. The question for all of us remains: when we worship viral sensations, do we stop to consider the cost of the fire we've stoked?